It's us, the people who run Not So Giant Women, the Steven Universe podcast. We're Daria and Ivy, and today we'll be watching and reacting to Steven's Lion. So, do you figure Steven will have a lion, or is that a spoiler?
Again, my first thought, oh, there's that cat theme again.
Yep.
And in fact, we had a tiger last week and a lion this week. So not just cats, but wild cats going down at the Steven Universe offices with the Crooniverse. See, sometimes I might just think it's a metaphorical lion, a representation of boldness or courage. But as we've seen a few times on this show, you can't be too careful.
Well, we do have a history of very literal titles, and even though we didn't know what Tiger Millionaire was from the title, it was literally just about Tiger Millionaire.
Yeah, Steven being a tiger who is a millionaire.
He's loaded up with jungle bucks. So, we're on the next one now, so.
Okay, and I'm ready to go, so I will watch and react to Steven's Lion, Season 1, Episode 10 of Steven Universe.
Woo!
Are the crystal gems will always save the day.
Wink!
Well, Steven made a friend. Kind of.
So, Steven had a lion. Steven's Lion.
Yep. That's what it says on the tin. Okay. Let's tell the story of how he got this lion.
Yes.
Our heroes are in a desert which is forming and reforming castles and towers around them. This is because the system is breaking down and they need to take what we learned to call the desert glass to turn this back into a stable desert. Steven is crawling along the desert crying, water, water, because he just thinks this is what you do in the desert. The three gems go off to do what must be done. Garnet asks Steven to stay put, and to his credit, he in fact does. However, a bright pink lion, soon approaches him, and Steven befriends it. He calls it the cotton candy of the jungle, even though we're in the desert.
Yeah, that's true.
The gems soon return. Amethyst has the desert glass, but much to Pearl's annoyance has not bubbled it away, as we've seen the other two doing before. So this comes to the notion of, can Amethyst bubble things away? Apparently, yes, but for some reason she is not doing so. And I think she just wants the shiny thing. I think she actually says as much. They go home and Steven says an emotionally but cliche-charged goodbye to the lion. Back at home, Amethyst has made a pillow fort with the desert glass on top of it, and she and Steven are snoozing beneath it. She notes that gems don't have to sleep, but she likes doing so. While they're sleeping, Steven is woken by scratching at the door, which turns out to be the pink lion. The lion is unimpressed by Steven's attempts to play games and do strange trust exercises. Tries to take it into town to get a fish pizza, but the lion misses out on this experience as soon as Steven leaves outside the pizza place. It goes back to the treehouse by itself, scratching to be let in, eventually gets let in, lets out a sort of powerful sonic blast roar, and Amethyst doesn't wake up because apparently even though she doesn't need to sleep, she's very good at it. Steven realizes that the lion is after the desert glass. He is heartbroken because he thought the lion came back because he loves Steven, but apparently he just wants the glass. Steven says fine, then throws the glass out into the beach, at which point the sand of the beach starts to erupt into towers, much the way the sand of the desert did before, creating sandstorms and castles and all sorts of things. Steven is initially trapped down in the series of castles and things. The gems ask him to stay still, and again he tries to, but things are just happening too much around him. And at one point he is going to fall off a large rising tower, but the lion flies through and saves him. He realizes the lion wasn't just trying to get the desert glass, it was trying to save them from it. Steven and the lion team up to get the glass from the top tower. They do, and the beach returns to normal, at which point the gems emerge, see what has happened, and Pearl bubbles the glass away. Steven asks if they can keep the lion. The which he says the lion wants to because he physically moves the lion's lips while doing a voice for it. Not something I do with a lion, but the number of things Stephen would do that I would not is probably quite high. Pearl says, are we really going to let him keep that? And Garnet says, well, we kept Amethyst, didn't we? Pearl thinks it's hilarious. Amethyst is pouting as we go to credits.
The end.
Yep, looks like the lion is going to stick around in some capacity. Amethyst apparently didn't learn too much about responsibility last week.
Nope.
Having kept the very disruptive glass and ignoring pretty much everything Pearl says for most of the episode until Garnet gets a zinger in on her.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that Garnet keeps them back and makes you treasure her barbs by having them a rarity.
Yes.
I wondered if the lion is somehow gem-like, as it's bright pink, unlike most other lions you see. On the other hand, I don't know if they just went to a planet where the lions are pink. I'm sure if the lion is sticking around, we may learn more about him.
That was definitely on my list to ask what you thought of him being pink and whether you had any lion theories.
I noticed the pinkish color does tend to be associated with Stephen and Rose's gem, so whether there's a link or it's just pink, we're yet to see. The lion didn't have a crystal on it, so it's not a standard gem life form, at least not that we can tell so far.
Right. Definitely a lot of fan speculation at this point. Is this some kind of gem? Are there gem animals that are not monsters, essentially? Where is Lion's gem if he's a gem? What is he if he's not a gem? Why is he pink?
Is it indeed as simple as, only Earth has yellow lions or something?
Yeah.
The gems didn't seem too concerned with the idea of keeping the lion. They were startled when they saw him at first, but at no point later they say, oh my goodness, no, you can't keep it. It's a lion.
Right. They also notably do not seem to know what it is themselves, though. Like, they aren't like, oh, that's this thing. They don't have a name for it. They don't say, you can't be around that because this.
I don't know if they say it. They seem to, at least. Their reactions suggest they know what a lion in general is and that you shouldn't stick parts of yourself in its mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, Pearl calling it that thing. Get your hands out of that thing's mouth.
I don't know if she doesn't know much about lions or if she's just, rude, calls it a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Amethyst said that she loved Lion. I mean, Lion said, I love you.
Part of me wonders if Amethyst just bought the whole lion ventriloquism thing.
Yeah.
Because in spite of it all, she's not always the deepest thinker.
Yeah, she just goes with how she feels. And if she felt love, then more power to her.
Yeah, she said she didn't bubble away the glass because, in my defense, I forgot. Which is something I've actually said.
Yes. Well, I guess more and more you're finding a kindred spirit there. Are you sure you're not purple?
No, well, maybe it's just under the tan.
So Lion is pink, and Lion also has roaring abilities of some kind, and I don't know if the leaping was supposed to be like cartoon physics or if it was also special leaping.
Yeah, at first I thought
and his eyes glow sometimes.
Yeah, at first I thought the leaping was actual flying. So
yeah, it definitely looked like something more than leaping. So he's clearly not a typical lion, even outside of being pink. So he'll fit right in.
We learned a bit on my gem biology quest this week when we found out that gems can sleep but don't need to.
That's right.
So
Gems don't need sleep.
Don't know if this applies to other general biological concerns, but that they can sleep is also interesting. That Amethyst doesn't just stay up all night. She has to. She can switch off and shut down. Mm-hmm. We don't know if the same applies for things like eating and such, though I have no trouble believing that any of the three wouldn't need to eat but would because they enjoy it. Again, it's going to be Amethyst. And we've certainly seen her doing so. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to use this for my probing question, so if we can kind of insert that here. I would also add that it was interesting that Stephen was like sweating all over the place in the desert, but the gems didn't seem affected by that. So I was going to ask you, like, what kind of two-part question, like whether you had any theories on what other human needs they do and don't have, and also kind of like, this is something I thought about for a while after I read a book about people who it was a science fiction book about people who didn't need to sleep. And I thought that would get so exhausting not being able to have like a division between, like, never any time to recharge and shut off, like psychologically at least. So, if you thought that maybe the gems, whether they would do something else. Any ideas yet?
Well, you're right. They didn't sweat. This is definitely only for the resident half-human.
Although, I will note, I've seen Pearl sweat for emotions.
So maybe they don't just sweat. They just don't sweat as much or as readily as humans.
Yeah, but it might also just be like cartoon stuff, like, oh, we want to show her being embarrassed or being frustrated or something, so we'll draw a sweat drop or something. So, I don't know.
They didn't seem discomforted by the desert environment.
That's right, yeah.
Again, going back to what you said about Stephen and what fiction he absorbs, he very much indulges in the cliche of dragging himself across the desert, gasping for water. And his initial farewell to the lion of putting his finger on its lips and saying, "No, don't say anything, it'll be too hard for both of us." That's straight out of some cheesy romance.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But as for your biology question, I guess so far we've seen they tend to be more durable than humans, which could go to the not sweating in extreme heat. We don't know how hot it actually was. Obviously, it was enough for Stephen to, live.
Right, and his arms and his hands were on the sand, and he was wearing those open shoes.
So if the gems have a heat tolerance, it's higher than humans, or at least higher than Stephen's. But it points a lot to Amethyst's personality that, she is indulging in human physical acts even if she doesn't need to.
Yep, we've definitely seen her eat, and now she naps when she doesn't have to also.
And the other times we've seen the other gems eat, it's been with Stephen when he said, "Let's have a together breakfast," and things like that. So we don't know, again, if they actually need to, or if that was just a case of, oh, let's eat with Stephen to make him happy.
Nobody got to eat the together breakfast, though. It became a monster.
True. But they did want to order out for pizza, so.
That's right, yeah. They all agreed that ordering pizza would be a better course of action than eating this new together breakfast. So they at least implied that they would.
Yeah. So put a pin in. They certainly can eat. Whether they have to remains to be seen. But Amethyst was pretty explicit with the sleeping thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the other two would do to shut down. I can imagine Garnet going into a quasi-meditative state.
I could imagine that too.
Maybe Pearl's outlet is like organizing or cleaning or something, and she zones out while she does it.
Oh, definitely could see that.
We're not sure if they can be knocked unconscious. I'm trying to remember if we've actually seen them unconscious or just incapacitated by something else, and we've had to sort of just guess what's going on while we can't see them.
Yeah, I don't recall anything like that up to this point. Closest we've seen to incapacitation would be the ketchup on Pearl in Frybo. She couldn't see. But yeah, she was not knocked out.
And this episode, they may have been knocked out, but it was more likely they were just simply covered in sand and unable to move.
Yeah. It's funny when Garnet punched the wall and said, "This wall's not moving!" Thank you for saying obvious things again, Garnet.
She's not used to her Hulk hands not smashing through stuff. They've been pretty effective so far.
Maybe she didn't know whether other people could tell. Like, did you notice that it's not moving?
Well, she's blinded us with the obvious before, so.
That's true. I liked when she said, "Do not worry, wet one." So cute. And then he's like, "I am the wet one."
And there's a weird sense of emotional warmth coming out again.
Yes, I agree. Like, that whole scene seemed very tender for her. Some nice, like, softness towards Stephen, some reassurance. And nothing can harm you here.
And they're coming along to the idea of taking Stephen on missions at all.
Yep, even though they went to go do the business and they left him where it was safer, they still brought him along, and he found a lion.
Yeah, which, in his defense, he would have had no idea that was going to happen. So
Yeah, of course.
it's a rare case on television of someone saying, stay here, and they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we don't get to see what kind of battle there was, but it seemed like Amethyst actually must have landed the killing blow there because she was lording it over Pearl and refusing to bubble it.
My kill, my keep.
Yep. Do you think she was just not bubbling it to anger Pearl?
I think in that moment she was doing so. I would find it quite possible that within a few days it would just end up in the pile of stuff in her chamber and be buried under toasters and magazines and whatever else, and she'd simply forget it existed, let alone to bubble it.
Probably. It was Pearl who finally put it in a bubble, right?
Yeah, I noticed that at the end because she was in the middle of telling Amethyst off, which worked about as well as it usually does.
Yeah. In my defense, I forgot exactly. So as a cat owner, you know that the kind of games Stephen wanted to play with Lion are not cat games.
No, if I had jumped off the roof next to the cat, she'd probably wonder why I did such a thing.
Mm-hmm. And there's not really a lot of fetch going on, catching balls in your mouth and whatnot.
No, the most Olive does is if I roll a ball towards her, she kind of wrestles it, but doesn't bring it back to me. Though one of my friend's cat does do fetch, so go figure.
I've seen a couple fetch cats on YouTube videos, of course. But it's almost like presented like, see, cats do fetch. It's kind of like most of them are like, you want me to do what? You want me to? No, I'm above that. Lion was looking at Stephen like, okay, I don't know what you think you're doing, but this is not interesting to me.
Yeah, your round thing's over here now. It was over there. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I did think it was cute that he figured he would feed the lion some fish stew pizza. It also kind of was reminiscent of when he wanted to go around town showing everyone his cat fingers. He wanted to show everyone his lion. It's like the kind of thing that happens when something new happens with Stephen. He wants to go around Beach City and show everybody it. It's very, very appropriate child behavior.
And Ronaldo, it's invisible and pink.
Yes. Like the invisible pink unicorn. I like that Ronaldo believes him.
Yeah, I guess we've found another restaurant in Beach City, the pizza place with Kofi and Kiki. I'm not sure which is which because they were both addressed at once. But
that's right.
I like whichever one it was, apologizing for using the lion pun twice.
Yes. Yes, indeed. One of my factoids for this episode is that they decided to make the fish stew pizza family business owned by people who were not Italian. They figured that would be nice to have an immigrant family running a pizza restaurant, but not have them be Italians. So they went with the, one of the Crewniverse members, Ian Jones-Cordy. His family is from Ghana, and they made them a family from Ghana. And Kofi is a very common name in Ghana. So that would be the fella.
I can appreciate that because the two local pizza places I've liked most in the past few years have been, one was run by a Chinese family, the other by a Swedish family.
Very cool.
So
I like that.
There are, of course, a fair share of Italian families running them. So
I'm not sure how I feel about the idea of fish and stew and pizza all being in the same sentence.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I do know someone who would be up for that because he loves gumbo, which is basically fish stew.
Yeah.
And he loves pizza. And much like yourself, he does like to try making things. So I'll have to dangle that in front of him and see if he bites.
That's very good.
It reminds me, there was a news story recently about a sushi pizza place that closed down.
Oh.
And it was another one of those wage theft stories. And there's a lot of back and forth about why this place closed down. And a lot of people says, was it because they were serving sushi pizza? Because that sounds kind of specific. So depending on the sushi, I would have at least tried it.
Yeah, I like veggie sushi, but I don't eat fish. So I really like avocado sushi, carrot sushi, cucumber sushi. And if you can get a tamago roll, that's egg.
Tamago is my favorite of the sushis.
Yes, indeed. Those are so good. I did get to eat something that was like this very liberally fusion restaurant in town called East. They serve a burrito, a sushi burrito that they use for the burrito wrapping. It's just the seaweed, and inside is the rice and the usual inside of. It's very difficult to eat because when you eat sushi, you're not supposed to bite into it. You just eat a whole mouthful. So I ordered it with some trepidation because I was thinking, A, this is going to be difficult to eat. And B, it's kind of an abomination, isn't it? But it was delicious. And while I was eating it, I was sad that I was soon going to have no more. It was just that good. I want to go back. So
fusion cuisine can create good things. I had Vindaloo burrito the other night.
Wow. Okay. So I guess it's decided that a fish stew pizza under certain circumstances could be good.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of fish stew, but I'm sure if I was, I'd at least try the pizza version.
Sure. When Ronaldo updated his blog for this episode, he believed in the lion. So I wrote down in another window here on what he actually said so I can share it with you without sending you to a spoilery blog. But this episode's entry said Ronaldo was yelling, "I was fooled yesterday." Fooled into thinking Steven had an invisible pet lion. So stupid. I like to think of myself as a skeptical freethinker. So I'm surprised I believed such a silly idea. In other news, Steven might be pregnant. I haven't been able to get him to take a Prager test yet, but I did snap this picture of him hate eating pizza. There's actually a cartoon of him sitting outside, just sitting on the ground, eating the pizza, looking really angry.
And so that is Stephen all over that. Despite everything, he still had to eat the pizza because you don't go to the pizza shop and not eat the pizza.
Right, and then he comes back and he finds Lion scratching at the door. He's like, "I looked like a fool. I had to eat an entire pizza by myself." So he sat there and ate it. Ronaldo put it on his blog as news.
And part of me thinking, really, is that really the first time you've eaten a whole pizza by yourself, Stephen? Come on now.
Yeah, he did say he was ordering for two, but I don't know. I mean, I have been able to eat an entire medium pizza by myself. So, I don't know, if you get your... if you're really hungry and you get your pizza eating chops nice and prepared, you could probably down a whole large pizza, extra fishy.
And we've established that even though it's by no means doing the fat joke, Stephen definitely does love his food.
He does. Pizza counts as a main course and junk food.
Yeah. So I'm sure he was prepared to rise to the challenge.
More than likely. Also, Onion was not happy at being hoodwinked.
Our favorite half-sized dwarf troll doll.
Don't know what the heck is going on with Onion, but we do know he doesn't want to be lied to or misled. He does not talk.
I suddenly wondered the other night, he didn't seem to be able to hear in the Bubble episode. He hasn't been seen to speak so far.
Right.
So I'm not sure if they're putting those two together.
Mm-hmm.
Also don't know I'm not sure of his species because no other human is that weird yellow colour that we've seen in Steven Universe. And certainly not out here, they're not. So
he definitely has a strange hue to him.
Maybe his parents are from Springfield.
That could be. Definitely. Although folks in Springfield, I believe they do have ears.
That's true.
I used to draw The Simpsons all the time.
I used to do them while I was watching them.
Yeah, I was in middle school when that came out.
Yeah, I was about the same. First year of what you'd call junior high.
Yep. That was in the late 80s.
And it's still running.
Yeah. Maybe it was 1990 or something. I can't remember exactly. So let's see. The ending of the video, the ending of the episode was like a video game, almost.
Yeah, again, another bit of that. Got to jump from thing to thing, get the token, parts moving and rising this time.
Yeah. You have a lion ally.
All sorts of obstacles flying through the way.
That was fun. It was kind of cool that he came through and was able to solve the problem he caused. Which, Pearl was probably blaming Amethyst, but he literally took it outside and threw it on the dirt.
Yeah, this time, and in fact, he'd kind of been told as to what it could do, even if he didn't quite process it. So this one's on him.
Yeah, we didn't exactly see his eyes kind of fading out like in Fribo when he's like, I can't just start listening now when Pearl is explaining. Oh, so funny. I like that. And also, of course, we kept Amethyst, especially given how much Pearl laughs at that and how Amethyst is clearly not amused. I did see some people saying, like, this was kind of mean thing to say for Garnet to say. But, just personally, my interpretation of that was she was stating a fact.
Well, I saw Amethyst's magnificent pout. Well, I also saw what you thought, but I also saw her magnificent pout as less someone's been mean to me and more someone's let out an insult and it's not me.
Yeah.
Because she has certainly given as much as she's got on that front. So,
oh, sure. Absolutely.
To me, it was a bit of a, no, that's my thing.
Right. And there may have been, if you want to ask why she might not have gotten angry or yelled back or retort or anything like that, this could have fallen into the category of her, that's fair, because she caused a problem earlier or contributed to one. So she's just like, whatever.
Though in some ways, Amethyst-wise, it might have made sense if this one had come before the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because this, while not egregious, did have some elements of the other two coming down on Amethyst for irresponsibility, which comes to a peak in Tiger Millionaire.
Right.
So
it seemed like they sort of resolved some of that, but I guess it was more like, okay, we understand you need an outlet, and then they're still going to butt heads over it. There's still going to be this dynamic that is unresolved. But,
yeah, certainly in the order as presented, it still makes sense. You can say that they've solved some of the deeper angle, but she's still going to be irresponsible, and she and Pearl are still going to bicker about it, and that's just going to be a thing that happens, even if they do understand each other better.
Yeah, like when she flipped down the hill and she's like, Pearl's like, excuse me? That's funny. Actually, one of the things I like about the idea of character development not necessarily being like, okay, we solved this issue between us and now we're never going to have this problem again. It's kind of like, it's pretty realistic because it's been their dynamic as long as we've known them. And even if they've kind of worked some things out or come to some understanding, it's refreshing, I guess, to see that it's not like, okay, there's going to be one incident and then after that, everything is fine. Everything's perfect between these characters.
Yeah, and you can certainly believe that a deeper matter might be addressed while there's still, surface level things like imitating each other and not bubbling away your kills and all the rest of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Quit being jealous, Pearl. I'm not jealous.
So you could see that as a, oh, well, looks like we're business as usual. Super friends.
Actually, the laugh at the end, it was just Pearl laughing by herself. Maybe Garnet was laughing on the inside. I don't know. It's just so hard to tell.
But I think if we'd stayed with them much longer, we would have gone from everyone thinking, that's funny, to everyone sort of like, Pearl is really, really thinks it's funny, doesn't she?
Okay. Any more plot and character stuff you want to talk about right now, or should we talk about the music stuff?
No, most of the plot and character stuff comes back to that and to Lion, who, taking the episode at face value, is going to be around again or for a while or something. So I'm assuming we'll at least learn something more about him. His name appears just to be Lion. I'm actually surprised Stephen didn't give it some overly amazing child thinks it's a cool name, but I guess sometimes the best he can do is just what he sees.
You know, he lives with 3 people who named themselves after the gemstone in themselves.
Yeah, maybe that's just how he thinks names work.
Maybe. Also, though, factoid, Rebecca Sugar's cat is named Lion. So I have seen Lion.
Was one named after the other, or?
Yeah, I think that she decided to call the lion in the cartoon after her cat. I could be wrong, but I think that that's the way it was. Anyway, they're the same name. That's what's important. And cats are little lions, and lions are giant cats.
Yeah, I've seen this one try to hunt cheese, so...
I've actually seen some images where if you put like a really big box out, a lion or other big cats will get in them, just like regular cats. So, music?
Yes, let's talk music.
There's no songs.
No.
But Lion got a theme.
Yes, I do like a character theme.
Yeah, Lion's been introduced, so Lion is a person, as all cats are. Mm-hmm. And, so he got his own theme, but there's a cool fact about that. I found also a quote on that, and I wrote that down too so I could tell you. This is one of the music people, Ivy. She spells it A-I-V-I, by the way. So Ivy Tron, she is, I don't know if she says Tran or Tron. Anyway, she has cat toys. And so this quote says, the little bell and shaker sounds in the Lion theme are sampled from various cat toys that Ivy owns. We tried to capture something both majestic and cute at the same time, a reflection of Lion's mysterious and super fluffy pink nature.
I think they caught it.
Yeah, and you do hear the little jingles. It's so cute. And they kind of put that together. They worked that Lion theme into the kind of desert glass battle music too. So that was really cool.
Well, it fit with Lion overall that he was, as I said, so pink and fluffy, but also majestic, a lion. And so between sound and visual, I definitely got what they were going for.
I would agree with that. There it is. The episode description was Steven makes friends with a magical lion, but can't quite tell why it likes him. See, they give away too much.
But that does make it sound almost weirder than it is on some level.
That's true. He meets a lion. It's fine.
Meets a lion. He's not sure why he likes him, why the lion likes him. That's the issue here, not the lion.
And not like there's a desert glass gem that they captured that's trying to rebuild its castles. I guess that's also a factoid, is that the desert glass is, I think that's the first gem related monster that they give it a gem name, because desert glass is a real gem. So, but the other ones were things like centipedal and things like that.
Yeah, the crystal shrimps were the closest we had to any kind of gem in that regard.
Yeah. What else did they fight? Just the gem shards. And, the bubble buddies, they had a worm, and that didn't get a name either.
Yeah, just descriptive words.
Yeah, and Sirius Steven, they captured a gem too, but they didn't say what it was named.
No, they just said gem, and they kind of noted it as the power source of the trap building.
Yeah, Garnet said, let's go recover the gemstone. So they're not naming them very much, but this time they named it Desert Glass. It's in a pillow. It was kind of cool. Kind of a different sort of almost elemental kind of thing that they had to fight.
Yeah, and it looked like the pillow was part of the desert glass, whereas the ones we've seen so far, the gem has kind of popped out on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, what, if anything, that means, I don't know. Probably as much so Amethyst could put it on top of her pillow fort.
That's right. They built a pillow fort. That was so great. That was very relatable.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that cushion fort.
Yeah, I like that little bit of, they're just chilling out after battle. This is what these two do.
Mm-hmm.
They sleep, they build pillow forts.
Wakes them up.
Well, Amethyst would be a sound sleeper.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It would be very, very, very hard to get her out of bed if she had any responsibilities. If she had to go to school, forget it.
Oh, yeah. She'd be in so much detention.
She would just live there. And then she'd sleep there.
Yeah.
That or mess with everyone. So let's see. I'm looking at my list of factoids here that I made a list of so I wouldn't forget. I told you in the last one, but now that it's here, the storyboarders are Lamar Abrams. It's his first episode boarding, and Alith Romanillos again. And so they worked together to make this. And I've said before that I think Lamar is a weirdo, partly just because of some of the stuff that I've seen on his blog and stuff, but partly because some of his episodes are so strange. This one wasn't particularly like outstandingly weird, but
this one was at least within the Steven Universe level of weirdness.
Yeah, he has an odd sense of humor, and I appreciate it most of the time, but sometimes things are just so odd when he's one of the writers.
I have to keep an eye out for his name in the credits.
Yeah, Lamar Abrams. Let's see. And we had talked earlier about the people who run the pizza shop, Kofi and Kiki. And Kofi doesn't say anything, I guess, in this episode, but Kiki is the voice actor for her is Reagan Gomez Preston, I think is her name. Did I write it down? I did. Okay, I got it right. And D. Bradley Baker did Lion.
That fits.
He's always doing all those animal noises. Let's see what else. The Ronaldo's blog has the cat fingers picture on it while he's looking at his own blog on his laptop. You can see the cat fingers picture that he took of Stephen.
I like his weird incredulity. He's fun.
Yes. A lot of people find him just intolerable. Some people just really hate Ronaldo, but I find him pretty entertaining. I mean, he's annoying, and there are people that I know that I am much more annoyed by in real life who act like him.
And
but
so far, he's only appeared for like 30 seconds at a time, so he's not outstaying. Right. He's welcome. And of course, part of the point is that he's annoying.
Right. So he's got a blog about all the weird things that happen, but he lives in the same city as magical gem people.
Yeah.
And doesn't seem to really report on them exactly. It's all, wrestling is real.
Yeah, I get the impression you live there long enough, your priorities as to what is weird and not does become a little skewed.
I think you're absolutely right.
Even he would run dry of saying, someone came along to the fry shop today and she was purple after so many visits.
Yeah. He also throws some random stories into his blog that don't show up on the show. And there was this one series of posts that he did where I think the refrigerator fell on him, and he was blogging from being trapped under the fridge and hoping that somebody in his family would find out, but nobody reads his blog, so nobody knew he was trapped there. And there are like 6 entries where he's finally like saying goodbye to the world because he's going to die under this fridge, but then finally, never mind, he's fine. I don't remember when he did that, but it's kind of sad.
Oh.
It's like, poor Ronaldo. Nobody wants you to die.
Nobody wants you to be alive near them, but not die.
Yes.
Time for food, because that's been bubbling away in my mind, and we've already at least kind of brushed on it.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
I have made fish stew pizza, and I did actually do it with fake fish because they make that.
Yep, I've had it. It's great.
Yeah, I did really like it. And I wasn't much of a fish eater 20 years. I became vegetarian on my 20th birthday, so that is my trivia about myself for this episode. And so it's very easy to calculate how long it has been. So I've been a vegetarian for more than 20 years. And before that, I was not a big fish person, except for I liked tuna. But I wouldn't have ever put like actual fish on a pizza. But the fake fish on a pizza was actually delicious. I also added mushrooms because I love mushrooms.
When they've got just a broad description like fish stew, you've got some room to play around with. And this time we didn't actually see the food in question.
You are right. We didn't see it in the actual episode, although the picture that Ronaldo posts on his blog that you're not allowed to look at yet does show him hate eating the pizza, so I took a look at it.
Of course.
Like, what does it look like? So I made large pizza extra fishy. I actually made my pizza from scratch. I don't know if that just means I'm extremely extra and engaging in overkill here, but I really like making pizza with my friends. I have a recipe that makes 2. And so usually if I have a friend over, we'll make our own pizzas and they'll get one and I'll get one and we'll put whatever toppings we want.
Yeah, I've done the same. It's cool. It's fun.
Yeah. So pizza crust is pretty.
I got a pizza stone one Christmas. So
Yeah. Oh, cool. I don't have one of those. I just have pizza pans.
I do.
So they're just round or other shapes.
Yeah.
So, pizza dough is pretty easy, but involves yeast. And so I did the yeast thing and added oil, flour, salt. Is that it? And of course, sugar goes into the yeast thing. So
some people put eggs.
Yeah, they do. I've definitely seen some bread dough where you do that. My recipe for it does not have eggs, although I have no problem with eggs. And
I sometimes do and sometimes don't.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really have just like the one recipe that I use for almost everything. So I did my typical crust with this, and it does have a pretty long rising time in my experience. And then after you punch it down and you spread it out and leave like a standing rim for the crust of it, then you can put your tomato paste. And for this, it's pretty typical kind of pizza tomato paste. And then I put a bunch of cheese on it. And I cooked the fish, the fake fish. And did I cook it first? I can't remember right now.
That's usually the best way to do pizza because everything cooks at the same rate.
Yeah. Let's see. I did. Okay. I did cook the fish, the fake fish fillets in an oven first. And I also, since I used mushrooms on it, I put them in the oven first, which this is one of my pizza tips for using mushrooms. If you like mushrooms on your pizza and you have raw mushrooms, I put it in the oven, I put it in the microwave oven and microwaved it for a little while to get like the juice out. And that way it has mushroom juice all over the place, a lot less, and it won't make your pizza soggy, and I like that. Actually, I used vegetarian pepperoni on this too.
Oh.
So, I just threw all that stuff on there and cooked it and ate it, and it was actually really, really good. I'm sure that there are some other recipes at Fish Stew Pizza that I would not like as much, but this looked pretty. It looked pretty ordinary. It looked pretty, edible.
Yeah. And you seem to have liked it, so that's, win.
Yes. Yeah, it's always fun when I do a recipe for Steven Universe, and then, I do it for the photo op, but then I have all this delicious food. You would not believe what is in my fridge right now, but you won't find out about that till episode 19, so... Is it 19? No, it's 17. Sooner.
Oh, wow.
So you'll get to find out what's in my fridge right now.
I have a couple of friends who love little projects, so definitely going to try to encourage them onto some of the food of the week we've been doing here.
That would be fun. Especially Cookie Cats, though, because they're so iconic and they're so good. And they keep a very long time because they're frozen.
It's got just the level of subtle detail my friend would be into.
Oh, that's great.
Because
that is awesome.
There are ways to almost get it right, and there are ways to get it exactly right, and he loves crossing that divide.
Yes. Excellent. I wish I had some fish stew pizza right now. But I think I have some fake fish in my freezer, so maybe I'll eat that after this. I didn't get to have much of a dinner. So I ate on the run because I had to work late. It's the end of the world. See, I usually don't have to work too hard, so I turn into a giant baby when I have to work hard.
Yeah, I can tell you're being a bit tired this session.
Not quite as exuberant about my Steveny adventures.
Well, you did say you'd had a long day, and you can tell.
Yeah. Yes. I'm usually so spoiled and get to go home at 5. It's also very cold for me this week. even though I'm in Florida and it's not actually cold, I'm sitting here in 3 layers and I also have a blanket on. So
it's cooler here than it has been, but not terribly hot.
Yeah. Well, don't you have Christmas time in the summer where you are?
Yeah. The peak heat is like December, January. Today is remarkably cool in that I don't even have the air conditioning on.
Yeah. I have not turned my heat on even though it's winter, and it was very cold for me, but I stayed in my bed under my electric blanket until it was past time that I should have left for work this morning. So I took one of those paid rides. And actually my driver was also an engineer, which I worked at an engineering firm. So it's just funny that he's like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I work at an engineering firm. And he says, oh, really? What kind of engineering? I'm an engineer. He was in school. So got to be driven to my engineer job by an engineer. That's fun. I am not an engineer, but I work for engineers. So shall I show you my merchandise?
Let's see it.
I'm sure you can probably guess what it is. Are you down there? Oh, good. I remembered to stick it down there. I would have been mad if I had to get up.
It's lion.
It's a big pink lion.
And Ivy's showing us a big pink plushy lion, which is about the size of a regular cat. Come to that.
It's pretty big. Yes. So this lion was also a special plushie for one of the San Diego Comic Cons. So I've never been to San Diego Comic Con, so I keep having to pay exorbitant amounts of money to eBay sellers. It's not that bad, but I had to make sure I get lion because
Definitely.
Perfect for plush.
He looks like he was worth it. He definitely looks very adorable there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and lion, of course, makes a good plushie. But of course, you want a stuffed animal because it's an animal.
Yeah, it's kind of a gimme, that one.
Yup. And they do make a backpack hanger of lion as well. So I brought that just to show you the continuing collection of people that you hadn't met that I couldn't share it for.
Oh, he's very Windsor the Majestic on the backpack hanger.
Yep. Unfortunately, he's the only one that's not really in scale because they're all about the same size. So
yeah, whereas this one's about the height of the Stephen one.
Mm-hmm. And, with the other ones, they fixed that by having the taller characters squatting down and doubling up. But with lion, you just can't do it. So you don't. Would have been fun if they had decided there would be one really huge one and they made it lion. That would be great.
Oh,
I really wanted to just cuddle
lion
this.
Matches the stripes on your hoodie too.
Huh?
Lion matches the stripes on your hoodie. Oh,
this hoodie is, you'll love this. It has a cheeseburger backpack on the back. I was wearing this at work.
That is adorable.
So it has the onion straps on it. See, this could have been my merch for a different episode, but it isn't. Because I'm just wearing it because I'm freezing. It actually has a hood on it that has cookie cats inside.
Nice.
It's very Stephen-y.
Yeah, it also looks very cozy too.
It is quite cozy. I don't think there's any other Easter eggs on it, except that the zipper is very rainbowy on the inside. It's got rainbow colors. Hooray.
And for those in audio, it has the big Stephen star on the front too, Ivy's hoodie.
Yes. Yeah. I end up getting lazy and staying in bed too long and doing paid rides a lot more than I should. And sometime last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago, I was wearing this because, again, it was cold. And my driver noticed it as I was getting out of the car and said, "Is that Steven Universe?" I'm like, oh, if only you'd said that at the beginning of this ride, we could have talked about cartoons for 20 minutes. The driver was quite into it, actually, and had seen everything except the movie and was very excited to watch the movie.
Oh.
She's like, I got to get caught up.
Well, I hope they're listening. Hi, driver.
Yes. So it's fun because it is popular enough that if you wear a shirt that's recognizably from Steven Universe, someone who sees it will tell you. They will tell you that they like it, and they will tell you who their favorite character is.
They managed to make it pretty recognizable. But also, when you consider most of the distinctiveness comes from Well, not distinctiveness. In fact, ironically, it's a lack of distinctiveness, and it's just a yellow star, but still people know what it's supposed to mean.
Actually, my previous boss at the firm I used to work at before I worked where I work now would observe that I would sometimes wear a Steven shirt to work. And he thought that it meant I worked at Hardee's, which is, it's a fast food chain here that has a similar kind of aesthetic. And every once in a while, someone will say, is that a Hardee's shirt? But mostly it's a Steven Universe shirt. Or the Vietnam flag. I think the Vietnam flag looks like that, right?
I remember way back there used to be a bit of a red shirt, yellow star, quasi-communist trend in T-shirts.
Yep. Hey, so, we got two awesome things at the same time. Yay, communism!
I'm sure there's some alternate cartoon out there called Steven Communist.
There you go. There we go.
These are his friends, Hammer and Sickle.
Reading the tag here. Doesn't say anything interesting except all new materials. I believe this was made in China. So, we've come full circle with that, haven't we? Let's see. I don't think I have any other fun little Easter eggs for you today. I have shown you my food, and we talked about music, and I showed you merchandise, and we talked a lot about the lion.
The lion and the fish stew pizza.
Yeah. I'm actually definitely going to make fake fish after we finish recording. Oh, let's see. Anything else? I don't know. I don't think I have anything. How about you?
No, I think I'm about covered also.
All right. That will be where we end this one.
She's doing it live, people. She's doing it live. Treasure this one.
Random interlude. Probably the first time that I try to do a ukulele solo, I'll mess it up real bad, and we'll have that recorded for posterity.
Yeah, we need to do a blooper show.
Yeah. At this point, it'll mostly just be technical difficulties.
So our sound quality has got a lot better since the first few.
Yes. Yeah. You definitely don't have the robot recording of me as much anymore at all. Nope. Well, I think I'm ready to go eat that fake fish, so...
Yeah, so I guess we just say farewell to the viewers, and you go to your dinner and I go to my lunch.
Yes! Let's do it. All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you for listening to us ramble. You've been listening to Ivy and Daria on Not So Giant Women.
You can find episodes of the show in video form by looking up Not So Giant Women on YouTube.
Or in audio form at anchor.fm/NotSoGiantWomen or your podcatcher of choice. You can also find us on Facebook.
Audio production by Daria.
Video production and music by Ivy.
Daria can also be heard on Podsploitation, the Ozploitation podcast.
And Ivy at her Steven Universe fan blog at love-takes-work.tumblr.com.
Steven Universe was created by Rebecca Sugar and remains property of Cartoon Network.
No infringement is intended.